Hello everyone, today I will explain about lower and upper bound, but we will add how to calculate using upper and lower bounds. So first, I want to tell you when we need to multiply. When multiplying and adding, slash adding, when you need to multiply two numbers or add two numbers, we will not multiply the multiply the numbers, then we will find the upper and lower for that number. In this case, it will be wrong. So we need to find the lower and the upper for the two number, then we will multiply. So this way, we will find the lower or the upper bound. So when multiplying for the lower bound, you will do as always. You will take the lower, you will multiply lower bound for the first number multiplied by the lower bound for the second number, or add. In this case, it works for multiplying and adding. And for the upper bound, it's the upper bound multiplied by the upper bound. So when we have two numbers, we need to multiply them or add them. You will find the lower and upper for that number. And if you want to find the lower bound for the multiplication, you will multiply the lower by the lower. And if you want to find the upper by the upper. And I can say this means that what I am doing is this one, it's correct. For the lower, it's the minimum multiplied or added by a minimum. It will give minimum. And maximum plus or multiplied by a maximum, it will give maximum. This is when multiplying slash adding. Now when dividing and subtracting, now I will do examples a lot so that you can understand more. When dividing or subtracting, this is different. For the lower bound, if you want the lower bound, the first number will be lower bound, but the second, this is division, it's either subtracted or divided. The first number will be the lower, what I want to find, but the second number will be the upper bound. And if I want to find the upper bound, I will take the upper. My first number will be the upper, and my second number will be the lower bound. That in this way, we can find the upper and lower bound if I want to divide or subtract. And in simple way, here minimum minus or divide by a maximum will give me minimum. And maximum divided by or subtracted by a minimum will give max. So it depends on the first one. If this one is max, then my answer will be max. If the first number is min, then my answer will be minimum. Same thing. If my what I want is lower bound, then my first number will be lower. If what I want the upper bound, then my first number will be upper bound. So let's have some examples. Okay. So now what we will do. Now what we will do to the nearest whole number. So I told you before in my videos, to the nearest whole number, what we will do, we will add and subtract 0.5. To the nearest whole number, it means 1 divided by 2, which gives 0.5. Okay, so first 100 multiplied by 50. It's easy. What we need to do, we will take the lower bound for the 100 and the lower bound for the 50 to find the lower bound of the whole calculation. So for the 100, my lower bound and my upper bound. My lower bound for the 100, I will subtract 0.5. It's 99.5. And for the upper, I will add. It's 100.5. This is for the 100. Now for the 50. My lower bound is 49.5. My upper bound is 50.5. This is for my 50. Now for the multiplication, my lower bound will be the lower for the 100 multiplied by the lower for the of the 50. So 99.5 multiplied by 49.5 will give 4925.25. And for the upper bound, it will be 100.5 multiplied by 50.5, which will give 5075.25. So this is my lower bound for 100 multiplied by 50, and this is my upper bound. We will do it in this way. We can't multiply 100 multiplied by 50, which I will get 150, and then, no, sorry. I'm sorry, 100 multiplied by 50, it's 5,000. So if I want to find the upper and lower bound for the 5,000, it will be different than what I found here. So my answer will be wrong. So if I want to find, for calculation, you need to find the lower for the first number, then the upper, and the lower for the second, then you do whatever the question is asked. So let's take another example. Okay. Let's take 125 divided by 15. The same thing, we'll find the lower and upper bound for the 125 and 15. The lower bound, it's 124.5, 125.5, it's the upper, and this is for 125. And my lower bound for the 15 is 14.5, and my upper 15.5. This is for the 15. And don't forget, we're adding and subtracting 0.5 because we're doing to the nearest whole number. Now for the total multiplication calculation, 125, I want the lower bound. So my first number will be the lower bound. My second number will be the upper bound, 15.5. So my first number will be the lower as what I want to find, and my second will be the opposite, the upper bound. So 124.5 divided by 15.5, it's 8.03. I will write my answer to do decimal place. For the upper bound, I'll take the upper of the first number, 125.5, and the lower of the second one, which is 14.5. And my answer is 8.66 also to 2 decimal place. That's it. Just do as the rule said. We will only do as the rule. So we'll take another few examples. Okay, let's take 3 numbers now. 250 multiplied by 7 divided by 100. Here I have 2 operations, multiplication and division. First of all, when I see these kinds of question, first I will find the lower and my upper bound for all the numbers that I have. So let's start with the 250. For my 250, my lower bound is 249.5. My upper bound is 250.5. For the 7, my lower bound is 6.5. My upper bound is 7.5. And for the 100, my lower bound is 99.5 and my upper bound is 100.5. Now we will do for the whole calculation. My lower bound, first the above part, I want it lower. In multiplication, the lower is lower multiplied by lower. So I will take 249.5 multiplied by 6.5 divided by, I want the upper of the 100, not the lower, which is 100.5. This is all equal to 16.14. It's also to 2 decimal place. For the upper, I want the upper for the above. It's multiplication, upper multiplied by upper, 250.5 multiplied by 7.5. And for the 100, I want the lower, which is 99.5. And it's all 18.88. That's it. Just follow the rule only. So I'll take another example so that you can understand it clearly. Okay. Now I have 44 divided by 3 squared. Now 3 squared, we all know it's 3 multiplied by 3, right? So what I will do, if I want the lower bound for the whole calculation, I will take the lower of the above and the upper of the below. Since it is multiplication, it's the upper and upper, or you can take the upper squared. It doesn't matter, it's the same, you will get the same answer. So for the lower bound of the 44, it will be 43.5. And for the upper bound of 3 square, it is 3.5. You can write it 3.5 multiplied by 3.5, or you can do 43.5 divided by 3.5 squared. You will get the same answer, which is 3.55. Now for my upper bound, 44, it is 44.5, and the lower of the 3, it's 2.5. And it's equal to 7.12. And I want to remind you, we are doing plus minus 0.5 because it's to the nearest whole number. The last question. Okay, for my last question, I'll take 1000 divided by 4 multiplied by 3 plus 8. Now here, 4 multiplied 3 plus 8, for multiplication and addition, it's the same. It's the same rule. We need, if I want the lower, lower multiplied by lower, lower plus lower. If I want the upper, upper with the upper. So I have no issue. So I will do my lower bound. I will not do the lower and upper for each number because we know that what we are doing is plus minus 0.5. So the lower for the 1000, it's 999.5 divided by the upper for all the numbers below. 4, it's 4.5. Multiplied by 3, it's 3.5 plus 8, which is 8.5. And I will get 18.51. For my upper bound, it's 1000.5, the upper of the above, and the lower for the down part, 3.5 multiplied by 2.5 plus 7.5, which is equal 28.59. This exercise is about lower and upper bound, how to calculate using calculation, and it's for the whole number. In my next video, I will solve for 1 decimal place and more exercises so that you can clearly understand lower and upper bound. And if you didn't subscribe, please subscribe for the channel and like the video. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching.